the DA now. They are saying they're going to be objecting to the inclusion of Enver Surty on this panel that's going to be investigating the docking of a Russian ship in Simonstown, allegedly to load weapons and ammunition for Russia. I'm joined now by DA Defense spokesperson Kobus Marais, and to further discuss this. Mr. Marais, good afternoon. I've just finished an interview now with Mr. Vincent Magwenya of the presidency, the presidential spokesperson. My last question to him was about the issue that you are raising. He's basically dismissing your concern, saying that you are impugning the character of the retired judge and assuming that Mr. Enver Surty will have single-handedly influenced the outcome. And he says it's not necessary for you to be concerned.
Well, first of all, let me just say that we don't question the capability and the objectivity of the judge, not at all, also not of the senior counsel. But one must remember this is a very specialized and a very specific panel with a very specific and a very unique challenge that they have to unbundle and untangle this whole thing. We would have loved to see, even if it was an ANC member, but one with excellent experience and references with regards to navies, the armament industry, the transportation, import and export of ammunitions, and what that require. How is it normally imported via commercial ports and not a navy port? What are the permits that is supposed to be? Why was the naval base not properly protected and guarded during certain times of the night? So it was an ideal opportunity for the president to bring in an expert, really an expert with regards to naval, maritime, munition, trade and transportation. So the fact that, Mr. Surty might be a fantastic person himself, but what will he contribute to this panel that compared to, for instance, an expert, as I've referred to?
So you would have preferred...
That is the whole basis. That is the whole basis of...
The core of your concern is the fact that you don't think Mr. Enver Surty has any military defense or related expertise. It's not about him being an ANC member or having been a minister, a deputy minister.
Not at all. I mean, if he was, for instance, the Deputy Minister of Defense, maybe he would have had some exposure to the realities and the uniqueness. But he has got nothing. I haven't seen anything. I haven't been provided with any of his credentials that makes him a suitable member of that panel. And one would have expected that with two legal experts on the panel, the other one should have been an expert on the trading, transport, movement of ammunition, using of military bases versus commercial customs ports of entry, and that we don't see. And then one asks the question: so, what was the motivation by the president to rather go for a loyalist and not an expert in this field?
Okay, so
and obviously
you think he does not have any qualification at all or knowledge that might have convinced the president to put him in. Do you think so, or do you know that he doesn't?
Well, he has never served in any of those roles. He has never served in any of the state-owned entities related to the defense industry or the eNCA. He might have been in his younger days in eNCA, but that doesn't make him suitable for a position like this. There are new legislations, there are United Nations resolutions, there are certain acts in South Africa, there are certain requirements, and the way that we normally do that is applicable on everybody else, but it seems like except for Arms Corps and the eNCA.
Okay, Mr. Marais, the train has already left the station. The president has announced the panel. Yeah. What are you now, as a DA, with these concerns, can do or are planning to do about it?
Well, obviously, I think first of all, one must be part and take part in this whole process, because first and foremost, this is about the integrity of South Africa, the protection of our people, our sovereignty, and how can we make sure that we deal with this in the best interest of all South Africans. This is not about the ANC versus the DA. This is not about, someone who is colluding with someone else. This is a serious security breach that we have seen and experienced in Simonstown Naval Base. This is a serious precedent that has been created, that a vessel was allowed and authorized to bypass official customs points of entry. My only assumption was and is that cargo, whatever was offloaded, we know what was offloaded, but what was offloaded and loaded onto the vessel would have probably never been, able to pass the scrutiny and the checks and balances of the official customs points of entry and all the state agencies at those points of entry. So this is a serious issue, and obviously we hope that the American embassy will also make their evidence available to the judge in whatever form they agree to that and in whatever format they agree to that. But hopefully this will be an opportunity for America to give their evidence. We happen to believe that the Americans are quite right and that they have got evidence. We know from many
but your belief,
sources
your
that
belief,
something was loaded, in fact.
Yeah, your belief will be tested by this investigation, hopefully, and the truth will emerge. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, Mr. Kobus Marais. He's the DA's shadow defense minister, just giving us some reaction to the setting up by the president of this independent three-person panel to probe Lady R's docking, loading, and offloading of whatever goods at Simonstown Naval Base last year. The Americans claim it was weapons and ammunition, but they haven't produced any evidence. Well, to my knowledge, I haven't seen anything, but their ambassador was very, very adamant that it is true. But our defense minister, the head of the National Defense Force, have said nothing was like that was loaded on Lady R. We'll have to wait and see in about 6-8 weeks' time from now what this panel will come up with.